What up, you lab rat? In this video, I'm gonna go over a sort of wrap up of the podcast movement, how I felt about it, what my experience was, which wasn't typical, and yeah, I'd love to answer any questions in the comments about this thing. First of all, podcast movement is, I believe, in its third year of being a conference, a yearly conference that podcasters go to. Podcasters are people who have a show, like on iTunes, it's audio only. Obviously, you guys know that I do video stuff, so I actually started in the podcasting realm, I guess, when it was audio only. I was doing interviews. I had a show called Love and Entrepreneurship, and then it slowly evolved into what I do now, which is this weird thing that I call Get in the Lab. With podcast movement, I was asked by my friend JC to kind of do like a wrap up, like a review or a survey or whatever, and I was like, actually, I already do that already in my content. I just haven't had time to really sit down with I guess my results or my review of the whole thing, how I really feel about it and all that, because it's been just kind of go. And even though I've had moments to sit down and kind of digest it, it still hasn't really digested. And I think that's because I'm going through a little bit of a metamorphosis, a bit of interchange that is going on, which is typical of this time, and in my pattern and ways that I do stuff here online. So for me to be able to sit down kind of calmly and look at everything hasn't been the smoothest, but I have a list here of things that I want to go over with you guys. For those of you who are interested in maybe even going, speaking at this event, applying to speak, and all that stuff. So I'm just going to give you my take. It wasn't a typical attendees experience, I'll tell you that much. I didn't go to a lot of speaker events. I actually prefer to solidify the relationships that I've made online throughout the year, and for the people that actually go in person to this conference, I like to sit with them one-on-one. I'm better that way versus being in a room full of people and trying to network and here's my business card and all that shit. Like I don't do well in that situation. So I like to kind of do my own thing, even though I'm at the conference, and I try to make it work for me in the best way possible. And I think that everybody who goes to a conference should do the same thing, right? Make it work for them in the best way possible, because obviously many people out there are like you guys, like me, like we don't do well in large crowds and large groups. So here's kind of like my list. So it's a 3-day conference, and usually the first day is kind of like a warm-up. The second day is where the core speakers kind of come in and the core things happen during the event. And then the third day is kind of a wind down. They do like awards, they do more meetups, more get-togethers, workshops, and things like that. So the first day is they do something called the PMX talk. So they're TED-like talks. More inspiration based, only 15 minutes long, so really tight group together talks and speeches of people who actually want to be speakers, I think. And it's a great opportunity to kind of get your feet wet in the whole speaker thing and what that's about. And there's a lot of really good speakers out. I knew a number of speakers that went up. Unfortunately, I felt as I went in to sit in front of a number of talks during this time, the room wasn't full, and that's just because it's a huge room. It's like 2 rooms put together, and I figured, like, why couldn't they just, I don't know, like have more of an audience for the people who were talking. It's probably already nerve-wracking to go up and speak. I know it is. And then maybe to not have the crowd that you're maybe hoping for, something like that. I know that turnout in numbers, and I felt that way where there's only like 6 people in the crowd or something when you were expecting at least 20. I know what that feels like, so maybe it would be like kind of cool next time to maybe like serve breakfast. Also too, like the PMX talks were held pretty early in the morning, like 9 a.m. So for those of us who maybe aren't adjusted to the time in Chicago, it was held in Chicago, maybe weren't up during that time or didn't want to be up during that time to listen to the talk. So the people who went early in the morning maybe didn't get their fair share of the audience. And that's the reason why you're talking, because there's an audience there, right? Maybe serve like breakfast during the PMX talks to like incentivize people to come out, and then they could network and mingle and then listen to you know, the inspirational talks at the same time, because it might sound like it might be distracting, but I don't know, my talk was kind of similar. So when I talked on the second day, my little stage, the little stage that you talk, it was called the solution stage, and the solution stage was in the exhibit hall, which is like an open room where all the exhibit booths are, right? And there was a little corner of this open, huge ass room where there was a little stage, a mic, and a place for you to put your PowerPoint. And I was like, huh, that's weird. It's not a room. It's not enclosed, right? You don't get to go into a room and like get stuck there. So people can easily walk in and out of your talk as they found it useful to them. And so at some point during my talk, there was less people in the beginning, a lot of people in the middle, and then less people at the end as people were asking questions. But it still felt like a full room, right? There was people kind of walking in the background, and if they got intrigued, they could come into the conversation, like come into the talk and come listen, have a seat, whatever. And I thought I thought it was gonna be distracting, but I was like, oh, that's cool, you know, like people can come in and out if they want, if it's useful for them. And it keeps it kind of like there's people around. There's people around to listen to you talk. So I was thinking, maybe they could do something like that for PMX. I just kind of thought of that right now, but that's just a suggestion. That's kind of like my suggestion, kind of my takeaway from that time. My friend Jay Wong came down from Toronto, and we've been connecting back and forth online only through YouTube, actually through our vlogs. And when I met him in person, man, it was like clicked automatically. I felt like we were like best buds, and I think those are the treasured moments when you connect with somebody online, but then you really connect like in real life. That happens kind of rare for me. So that was really cool. That was super duper cool. And I think it's because we have this kind of way about us that loves YouTube, loves video, understands video, you know, kind of comes from the same page. And so from there, like lunch, it was easy to get to places. Like being that it was in Chicago, it was easy to walk. Downtown Chicago, it was easy to walk to really good places to eat. Transportation was easy. You can hail a cab if you want it really quick, really fast, reasonably priced, like what you would expect for a cab. Really great food, really great access to all the things, and near to where the hotel was, and great sightseeing. So whenever I was alone and I had some time on my hands, I just went off and I went and explored the city a little bit, and I thought that was pretty top notch. That was really great, because last year there wasn't much to see in Fort Worth, Texas. I was like, okay, Texas. Okay, a lot of freeways. I really thought that was great, that you could go around and you could visit this very historical place and was walking distance for sure. And then on that same day, during the PMX talks, the first day one, I actually did some headshots out there. That was great because I had great ambiance, great backgrounds for me to work with. And then speaker shots, I did some speaker shots. Collected some money on that, so that was kind of cool. Connected with people. And then day two, did my talk. It was very, very nerve-wracking. I was better, but still, you know, I gotta say, guys, like I promote that I speak, and I put it in my byline and all this stuff, but it's really hard on me. Like, it's not my strength. There's a part of me that like wants to do it because I guess the reward is there, right? But like, I don't know, man. I think I'm falling more towards the side, like, shouldn't I be listening to that voice that says, hey, you're really good at this stuff, like, why are you not pursuing it? You know, you're okay at the speaking stuff. And people are gonna keep telling me like, oh, you're a really good speaker, you did a good job, or you did better than last time, and that's all fine and dandy. But I know that I excel in other things. Like, why don't I just do that? I don't know. Leave me a comment in the comments and let me know how you feel about that, where it's like, should I choose to follow something that I'm getting some praise on, but I don't really feel it, and there's these other things that I really want to pursue that I know I'm really good at, like writing and drawing and other things like this. So I don't know, leave me your, I'm just curious what you guys think. That went down. I felt a surge of relief after my talk. I didn't have palpitations anymore, and I always talk about that, right? So another thing, we did a meetup after the event, or after the talk, and I broadcasted and I said, oh, one of my sponsors, Clarity, that helped me come out here to Chicago, is helping me put on a meetup where it's a private meetup where it's just me and you. I'm gonna record the whole thing on audio. You ask me questions, I answer them. And pretty good turnout. We had like 6 people coming out. People that have maybe watched my show and they knew of me and came and got to talk to me and all this stuff. And big shout out to Paul, big shout out to Nina, big shout out to Vernon, Chaz, who else came out? Mitch. Please excuse me, I'm very bad with names. I need to see your face. And it was amazing. I gave away 3 books, signed them. That was a lot of fun. And I try to broadcast it live to kind of put that out there. A lot of fun. Got to network with a lot of people. Drank a little bit, but I had my Clarity, so I didn't get any hangovers, so that was awesome. Ask me about Clarity and how it can stop hangovers. 3rd day, on the last day, it's kind of chill day. I had heartburn from like 2 in the morning till like 6 in the morning, and thank goodness I have really good friends. I roomed with my friend Amy Joshua and Amanda Mock, and it just made the cost really effective for me to come out there. I mean, going to conferences that are more than a day are very expensive. So if you can room with somebody and room with cool people, and it was really great. I was kind of afraid of the roommate situation, but we made it work. When it was time to sleep, it was sleep time. When it was time to talk, it was talk, and nobody really got in each other's space or way, which is great, because I think all 3 of us in that room were introverts, and we dig our personal space a lot. So it was easy. It was super easy. I had earplugs and an eye mask, and I just diva'd out, diva sleeped out. But by the 3rd day, guys, I was really checking out. I had a lot of free time on my hands. I didn't get to go to any speaker events. Even though I wanted to, I got to talking to other people, and you get distracted and you're like, oh crap, I missed the talk. So that happened a lot to me. I got to talking to people, and I missed talks like left and right. I barely got to hang out with Jared Easley. I saw him for a minute, and then, I felt like I could have tried more to make connections, but me being me at this time, like, I'm just gonna be honest with you guys, like, I'm a little bit of a burnout right now, so I'm really in self-preservation mode. At this point, I'm in self-preservation mode. I'm just gonna be honest, and I'm trying to slow down things, and I'm trying to cut things out to make me not be so overworked and overloaded and kind of stressed out. So that's something I know that all of you guys are dealing with, and my recommendation is to cut ties with what you can cut ties with. Like, it sucks, but in the end, it's you. I felt really bad and guilty for not connecting as much as I could have, and I thought, man, what's wrong with me? But at the same time, it's like, in the end, it's me. It's just me, and I need to be okay and accept, I need to be okay and accept that I'm learning. Like, this is a step in the journey, and the journey is not over yet, and it's okay that I'm not perfect all the time, that I'm not 100% all the time. And I think we need to remind ourselves that all the time. So I'm not giving myself a pass, but I am giving myself some room to breathe, because if you don't give yourself room to breathe and to take in the success that you've already done, and be okay with the things that you have yet to achieve, and have time to go do that and be okay with it. Like, I want to feel like if I died tomorrow, I would be satisfied with the life that I've built already. No, I haven't completed everything. I could have done better on other things, but I don't regret that I didn't do better or whatever. I don't regret it. That's just what happened. And I can just do better next time, as long as I'm still here, as long as I'm still alive, I can do better next time. There's always a next time. But I am moving into a better space where I can accept the shortcomings that I have and the wins that I have too. So you have to take the good and the bad. That's just how I feel right now. So that was my podcast movement roundup. But I love this hat because it's got gold underneath. I think it's fabulous. Overall, a good experience, but overall a very exhausting experience. I'm just gonna be honest, I'm exhausted, and I need to do better at, you know, managing my energy and having it be available for moments like this. So it's just another lesson. It's another experiment. It was the first time of me traveling by myself, so that was a little stressful, like on a plane going to another place. So that was new. That was my wrap up. I'd love to answer any more specific questions in the comments. A lot of changes are happening over here in the lab, which I'll be updating you on more on some vlogs and stuff like this. And yeah, good things. So thank you so much for listening to my drabble and dribble or dribble. And I'll see you next time here in the lab. Once again, my name is Meg, reminding you to get in the lab. I'll see you.